Coming up on episode 84 of the Upful Life podcast.
It came kind of naturally, because we are musicians that really take care about listening the others and not only just caring about, but I have to do my solo or whatever. It's just we kind of found each other on these aspects of seeing the music in the same way. So seeing it like, okay, we should sound like as it was produced by one guy, just pressing play on the computer actually. So we were really there and saying, okay, we should really sound as a produced track, and that excited us because we could also do the solos and stuff, and we do, like we have other projects and we have fun. We love jazz, we love improvised music, we love all this kind of stuff, funk and everything. We are like, well, half of the time we listen that on the road, not only electronic music. I mean, like I can say we are complete musicians. We do that for life, so we listen everything that really we like. So, but with ECHT, we really decided to have this element or this mindset to say, okay, we should really sound as one band, as one person, as one entity. Already, thank you for the appreciation and the love that you give to us for this music, and it's really. I mean, it touches me, but I can talk for the behalf of the others. It's really something like, with people like you that telling us this kind of stuff, but gives us a lot of energy to also go on, because sometimes we might find some difficult times, like, oh, is it okay what we are doing? Maybe we should go back to what we were doing in the first album, or maybe we should do something else, or maybe, it's normal. It's some questions that we get a lot of times because we want to do our best, not in order only to succeed, but to feel good, like to in order to express our love for this music.
I'm a bozo. Oh yeah, I thought you had it. You recognize it.
I love you very much.
Many people like it.
Let's drink a toast forever and ever. Let's drink a toast forever and ever.
Yes, indeedy. Welcome to the Upful Life podcast. I'm your host, B. Getz, coming at you live and direct from the Vibe Junkie Studios in Oakland, California. Yes, y'all. Took a little break, but now I'm back on tour, dropping that episode 84. So grateful you are tuning in. Yes, indeedy. Greetings, dearly beloved. We're back. Episode 84. Little short break there. Went on the honeymoon around the holidays. Came back. And, it's tough. Life is tough. Not carrying a steady sponsor right now. Trying to make a living as a music journalist. This is a passion project. And sometimes, shit's going to get away from me. I don't want to put out a half-assed product. So I appreciate everybody sticking with me. I hope everybody enjoyed that Nigel Hall episode from right before the turn of the year. I'm really proud of that, really proud of Nigel. You're hearing a little bit of Nigel in the background right now. Brand new. Lettuce with the Colorado Symphony just dropped. This show is from 2018. Let fans have been waiting ever since for the drop, and it finally went down. So shouts to the whole Let crew. You can check out some of my words I wrote about Lettuce when they were on tour with GZA, which was in January. All my work is on upfullife.com, and shouts to Live for Live Music for putting it out as well. That Lettuce article, it's called Get Up. Lettuce kicks off co-headlining tour with GZA in Cali. And then from there, 3 reports, detailed reports from Jam Cruise 21, which frankly, it was a last-minute assignment. I got hired, right before I went on the honeymoon. And we kind of kept it a secret and surprised a bunch of friends on the boat. And I'm proud of the work I did there. I also recorded a number of interviews, which you're going to be hearing on future episodes of the Upful Life podcast. But yeah, we've got 3 installments of my reports from Jam Cruise, concluding with the Holy Home Stretch. Jam Cruise 21 goes out with a bang, which I wrote after I got off the boat. So it's a little more detailed, a little more color. But with that, I want to encourage everybody to please smash that subscribe button, like and subscribe to the Upful Life podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, if you have the time and are so inclined, please rate and review the Upful Life podcast on your platform of choice. It goes a long way to steering those algorithms in this direction and bringing us new listeners to the Upful Life podcast, and that's huge. So shout out to everybody that's left a review or a rating. It's much appreciated. You can also, send me a few dollars for making you holla. Appreciate all that kind of financial support as well. Click the support button on upfullife.com or check out patreon.com/upfullife. And now let's get into episode 84. Questions, comments, suggestions, and constructive criticisms, holler at your boy, b.getz@upfullife.com. That's b.getz@upfullife.com. Yes, indeedy. And we're back. Upful Life Podcast, episode 84, and it is my extreme privilege, pleasure, honor, just an absolute joy to welcome Federico Pecoraro from ECHT out of Brussels, Belgium. Belgian Trap Jazz. This is some music that I stumbled across a few years ago, and it really, split my wig and flipped the script, if you will. Now, ECHT is a band, a quartet of lads coming out of Brussels. I'm going to read to you a little bit from their bio. Their name means the real thing in Brabants, which is a dialect of Brussels. Which we talk about a little bit in the interview. And the style of ECHT is highly influenced by electro, hip-hop, psychedelic groove, footwork, trap, jazz, stuff from the future and funk from the past. Their favorite artists are like John Wayne, DJ Rashad, DeAnthony Parks, Jay Dilla, Dorian Concept, or Aphex Twin. They're 4 jazz musicians who started covering, their favorite electronic and hip-hop songs, and then basically evolved into the band that we know today, who are releasing their 3rd full-length LP, Boilerism. Should be out around the time you hear this. I believe it's March 7th. And with that, I had the opportunity, I've been working on this one for a while. I had the opportunity to speak with Federico. It was 5 p.m. in Brussels, 8 a.m. in the Bay Area. And I was very excited to talk with him. You know, his English was tremendous. I was a little concerned going in if there was going to be communications issues, but not even a little bit. My man spoke wonderful English. It was such a thrill to connect. And I want to shout out Seb from Sdban Ultra, the record label, who hooked it up so that I could speak with Federico. And yeah, we just dove in. We start with the beginnings about the new album, and then we jump in the Wayback Machine and hear the story of ECHT, the band, how they came together, their influences, inspirations, musical styles, the hardware and software, and the brainstorms and the musical expression, all of it. And it's intercontinental, and it defies genre and generation. They're one of the most exciting and just unbelievable bands that I've come upon in a hell of a long time. And so I'm going to read this post I made when I discovered them 3-ish years ago. I was so pumped that I just jumped on social. This is January 9th, 2022. Don't know who needs to hear this, but yesterday I somehow stumbled across a band that blew my mind, and I do not say that lightly. Your boy was pacing around the backyard in headphones, screaming. This group of musicians somehow figured out the cheat code to my occipital lobe, which is to say they've unveiled a veritable soundtrack to my brain, a colossal concoction comprised of myriad musical elements that make me tick. These four horsemen dwell in Brussels, Belgium, a squad of youngsters who call themselves ECHT. How did these lads manage to manifest this magical sound? I have no idea, but I'm beside myself in awe and wonder, and I'll be screaming about these dudes for a good while. If you know what I'm into, imagine a band who does just about all of it, with smart nods to the past, bold leaps into the future, and sounds like no other group I've ever heard before. ECHT. My advice is to get familiar. So, 3 years and 2 months later, I had the opportunity to chop it up with Federico from ECHT, and that's what you're about to hear on episode 84 of the Upful Life podcast. ECHT, Federico, coming right up. Yes, indeedy.
All right, everybody! All right, this is ECHT! Get out from my city! Anyway, let's dance!
This is a very special early morning here in the Bay Area, as I have the pleasure of speaking with Federico, all the way in Brussels, Belgium, of the band ECHT. And I want to welcome you to the Upful Life podcast.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for having us, B. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, the pleasure is mutual, my friend. And as we said before we started, it's a pleasure to kind of meet you through the miles and technology. But I feel like it's a long time in the making. I should get off the bat, you're one of my favorite bands, period, in the whole world. And I've been listening and studying
We appreciate it.
for 3.5 years now. So today is very special for me because it's the end of a road of getting close to this music, and now to meet you and to speak with you. It's truly an honor, Federico. I want to thank you for making time to talk to us.
Thank you for having us again, and it's really a pleasure for us to talk to you as well. Thanks for the love that you have been sending us the last 3.5 years. So since actually the first album.
Yes, I remember exactly where I was sitting in this room when I came across In Wayne, your album from 3 years ago, which I guess was your debut album. You had an EP before that, but that was my introduction to the band. And now, I can remember I took a long walk around Lake Merritt with that album in my ears, and it was a transformative experience. They say really powerful music can affect your consciousness and your soul. And I experienced that from the very first time I listened to ECHT. And now it's been my pleasure to spread the music here in the United States to anybody who's interested. And so when I told some people I would speak with you, they were very excited as well. But you have a new album coming out, right, Seb? Thank you, Seb, for making this happen. Seb mentioned, and I've seen on the Instagram, that we're very close to a new ECHT album. So let's start there. Tell me a little bit about the process making this album and maybe how it's different from your previous recordings.
So actually, let's say that for this one, we try to really embody, or like to really try to put together all the club influences that we had the last 2.5 years that we have been on the road. So just going to play somewhere and then staying there and then listening to the acts just after us that happened to be mostly DJs. We were also programmed in some electronic festivals here in Europe. And so, yeah, we really focused on that. We said, okay, we should really do something that it's more club, that gives us to the club culture that we are really fond, we really love that club culture, And I mean, of course, also the others, the others sing along and in Wayne, but you can still hear there is this influence of jazz, let's say, in brackets. It's always in brackets. In this one, we really went fully electronic, and we were just listening to mainly really to producers and really to raise up the tempos, then really produce even more the sounds, me on the bass, and Dorian on the keyboards, and Florent on the guitar, and Martin on the drums, to really have this electronic optic of like I don't know how to say in English, but we say like second evening, music that passes usually after a set, so that is a little bit more more hot and at the same time a little bit more punchy.
Yeah, I understand. First, I want to say your English is very good. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Communicate very well. I understand you clearly.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a little nervous personally because I don't speak your language.
Yeah, me too. I am.
I'm grateful that you communicate very well in English, and so thank you. And I think that's one of the things that drew me to your music was the seamless sort of, you can switch from a mindset of electronic, the textures and the sounds and the effects and the physicality of the music is electronic, but then you watch, I've watched your concerts and your Brew Mix series and at the AB in Belgium, and watching you create the music, individual musicians making one sound. It's not solos and individual virtuoso, individual skills. it is a collective, like a one unit moving as one organism.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. Is that something that you had to learn how to do to sort of not
Yeah.
just play as instrumentalists, but play together?
Yeah, of course. I mean, what happened is just it came kind of naturally, you know, because we are musicians that really take care about listening the others and not only just caring about, yeah, but I have to do my solo or whatever. It's just we kind of found each other on this aspect of seeing the music in the same way. So seeing it like, okay, we should sound like as it was produced by one guy, you know, just pressing play on the computer actually. So we were really there and saying, okay, we should really sound as a produced track, and we that excited us as because we could also do the solos and stuff, and we do, you know, like we have other projects and we have fun. We love jazz, we love improvised music, we love all this kind of stuff, you know, funk and everything. We are like. Well, half of the time we listen that on the road, not only electronic music. I mean, like we are, I can say we are complete musicians, you know, we do that for life. So we listen everything that really we like. So, but with ECHT, we really decided to have this element or this mindset to say, okay, we should really sound as one band, as one person, as one entity, mainly. Yeah.
Well, it's very effective. And I'll say there are a number of bands here in the States that attempt to do that to varying degrees of success. Some are good at it, and some you can still tell it's individuals, not a unit. And that's what I think makes you guys so special, is you've really nailed that. You've really, you know, accomplished the moving as one organism thing. And now that you are able to do that, you can create from that place. And then that is what makes your music so unique, is that it's accomplished that goal of one unit, and now it can go in a million directions, which is why I'm so excited for Boilerism, your new album. What is a writing process like for this? Do you each individually bring parts together? Do you create them, you know, jamming? What is a writing, you know, situation like for ECHT?
No, actually, there is a really big research beforehand, before going to the studio. So actually, when we go to the studio, let's say that the 75% of the tune is done there. So what we do sometimes is we touch up after. You know, we have all our, let's say, how do you say that? Like we have our posts, you know, here in the rehearsal room, so we can also record after the studio, and we can also touch up if we have to do it like manually with the instruments. Otherwise, we do it with the production. But for the writing process, we do jam a lot. And what happens is that we record all the jams that we do. You know, we are all connected with the laptops, and so we record what we are doing. And after a while, we select some stuff, we listen it together, or sometimes it happens that we listen it individually, and then it happens that, I don't know, this passage, what we jammed here for 5 minutes, I really like it. So I go home, or I stay here a bit later, and then I write on it. I try to bring something more concrete. Then that happens. So it's actually, the process is pretty open. It's not only, we've been trying a lot of stuff, you know, because it's also an organism that it's evolving a lot of time. We're now on the third album, and we're trying to evolve and to change sometimes our manners, you know, to do it better actually. And so for Boilerism was exactly like this. We do jammed a lot, and then after a while we were like just seeing four of us, but four of us were like writing and working on one of the tunes, not necessarily the same tune. We were also like just doing other stuff, and then bringing it together. And then at the end, we were all, the four of us, deciding, like we could listen and say, okay, I really like what you did here. This chord progression, maybe I see it starting from the third chord and not from the first chord that you wrote. So then he could take my files, I could share it with him, and then he will do his cutting on the laptop, and then we'll learn the stuff afterwards in the rehearsal room, and make it make it appropriate. So, well, that's the process.
I appreciate you breaking it down, because a lot of people wonder, is this electronic music? Is this made on a computer? I hear instruments. I hear a real snare drum. I hear a bass guitar or a six-string guitar, yet the music is obviously, very technologically advanced. I like to call it reverse engineering, where it starts on the instruments and then it goes to the computer, but then it goes back to the instruments. It's sort of like this cycle. Again, that's why we're so amazed by ECHT music, because it is really unique in that way. You're not the only band that does it, but you do it so well. And I think what you do best is it's original. The songs, the creative energy in ECHT music is so fresh and new. And unlike I never heard anything before. So that's what I wanted to hear, just is the process and a little bit about how how you make the music behind the scenes. You mentioned your bandmates. Let's just talk a little history, because obviously you've probably told the story a number of times, but not to this audience, not to America or the US.
No.
How did you meet your bandmates? Take us to the beginnings of ECHT, playing in bars, doing the covers, meeting each other and kind of figuring out that this was going to be something special.
Yeah, I think when started, we didn't have any goal like what we do now. We didn't have anything. We were just playing for fun, and let's say, it's not really appropriate to say that we didn't have any goal. It's just what we really wanted is to play the music we liked. So we start to cover some Dilla beats from his albums, and from Slum Village, of course. All these kind of, or Flying Lotus, or these. We were even playing some David Bowie's and Pink Floyd, like trying to mix it up as a DJ, because it's something that we really like, the four of us, and of course FX and this kind of stuff, Dorian Concept, and all the scene that you're used to listen. For us, 10 years ago almost, because we started in 2017, so officially, and we were just doing that and having fun and discovering a little bit this music, because as every style of music is made of codes, is made of like things to transcribe it, to understand, and to internalize, and then to perform. So it was a kind of a embryo or laboratory, if you may say, where we were trying stuff, and we were just having fun, as we do now, of course, but we didn't have any other purposes than just having fun, and we actually met via the jam sessions here in Brussels. I arrived in Brussels in late 2015 for school. I studied here, and the guys were already here. There is Dorian, is the piano player, the keyboard player. He was here already since I don't remember exactly, 2008. He's here, by the way. Yeah? He's just working on other stuff. He would say 2008. He was here already from Yeah, from 2008, and he was kind of known. I mean, since the first days I was here, somebody told me, "Yeah, there is this French piano player. You should go and see." And the first time I saw him, he was playing a Weather Report. It's one of my favorite bands. He was covering Weather Reports, and he had a crazy sound on the keys, and I was like, "Wow, okay, I should play with this guy." And then we kind of did it. I was like, okay, let's do it. And the other two guys, Martin, also the drummer, or Martin in English, I also met him in a jam session, and I had the same feeling, like he was playing, I think, some D'Angelo beat or whatever, and I was like, wow, okay, it's really the thing. And the same is Flo, so after a while, it was Dorian to call me. I was the last one to arrive in the band. And yeah, sure, let's try. I mean, I never played this kind of, and I didn't have a lot of pedals. I didn't have all the sounds that it was needed, but it worked. I mean, humanly, it worked from the beginning. And then after a while, we really said, let's do the things. So then we know we have the EP and then the albums and blah, blah, blah. But in the beginning, it was really like, let's have fun. Let's see if it works out. And let's just play, and then let's do the music that we really love. Voila.
I see. First, I want to say D'Angelo is my favorite artist. So I love to hear that was part of the beginning of ECHT. You hearing Martin play D'Angelo just is very special to me. You know, D'Angelo just announced his first concert in 10 years, just last week. So it's an exciting time to be a fan. And I just love that connection.
Yeah.
I wanted to just kind of ask about like the scene in Brussels when you got started. Was there like a music scene that embraced you immediately? Did you have to kind of prove something because this is such a strange new style of music? What was the early vibes like when you brought your band to the clubs and the bars in Brussels, say like 2018, 2019, 2020?
Brussels, or in general North Europe, it's pretty open-minded about music, and you probably know. I mean, I was also talking and sometimes playing with some Americans as well, and they really all love coming to perform here because there is something really going on in the public. Okay, and Brussels also, I had the feeling, and when I arrived here, that it was something new all the time. Like there was something new going around all the times, and it was incredible to see musicians from here reign. So actually, when we did ECHT, and we were not called ECHT, of course, in the beginning, but we were just, as I told you, we were just having fun. We found the public and the places where to perform, and there was this open-mindedness that you don't find it elsewhere. I mean, you can find it, of course, in Paris or in London, you have, or in Berlin, you have like a lot of scenes over there, and it's incredible, I mean, all around Europe. But here in Brussels is really a crossroad of a lot of different cultures, also not only musical, that they're just open-minded. So yeah, and also let's not forget that this kind of sound, or this way of playing, or in general, what now we could talk the Brussels sound was already, or the Belgium sound was already there. Like when I arrived, there was this band called Stuff, like the band, the American band, with Steve Gadd, that just at the end you have a dot. This band, you should check it out. I don't know if you ever heard it, but they were doing, basically they were having the same concept as we do now, but like 10, 15 years ago. So everyone was, I mean, when I arrived here, everyone was like saying, you would like to play electronic beats, whatever influence, okay, you should check it stuff, and then you will see. And everyone could take it like, oh wow, okay, fuck, sorry, I don't know how to say, but like, oh wow, okay, this is like something else. And you can also go, back in the 70s, there was also Marc Moulin, I don't know if you have heard, but he was sampled by J. Dilla a lot of times. I mean, Belgium was always very fertile in culture and in music, so it kind of became natural to them to perform here and to have a group of people following us.
Thank you. Yeah, because I've obviously never been, and I only have listened to the music, so I've imagined the scene and the culture. But yeah, it's interesting to hear it's open-minded in that area, and people are willing to, try new things, embrace new ideas. It's not necessarily the same here in the United States. It's more safe. People do what's established, what
Yeah.
works, what can bring people to the club more than they experiment. At least, as far as the major scenes. Of course, there's experimental scenes everywhere, and I think that in a lot of ways you've inspired a lot of young artists here, or even older artists like Adam Deitch from Lettuce and Break Science. Loves you guys, and you've inspired him, and he's one of the greatest musicians in the world. And then I also know some young cats who are just getting started, who are listening to you guys as inspiration. So you're taking it from the past and passing it to the future. And I think that that's really remarkable, especially for a small band with not a lot of exposure outside of Northern Europe. You're really influencing a lot of people, and that's magical, I can remember you talked about playing the J Dilla beats and stuff in the beginning. When I first started to listen to you, the Brew Mix series, man, you grabbed me with some of those. Like my favorite Dilla beat ever is As Serious as Your Life, the Quartet collab. And you guys played that, you played that instrumentally. Like I think the second or third track on Brew Mix 2, and that was a moment I had. Like it was like spiritual to hear these four lads across the world reinterpreting this, underground sacred. If you're a Dilla fan, you know it, but the average hip hop fan not that familiar with that song. It's got Guilty Simpson on it. It's like a real left field for Dilla, But then you've also got stuff from Fantastic Volume 1, DJ Rashad. I'm just hearing John Wayne. I'm hearing these influences. It's just, and then another remarkable thing from the Brew Mix series is you can hear your songs in their embryonic state. So Untitled 1, Untitled 2, they then show up as fully blossomed songs on the albums. So to listen to the growth from the idea in a room to the full studio production, like a Dunes. I know that wasn't a question. I just wanted to kind of tell you that I take note of the evolution of the music and also the connections to, some of your influences. Adam Deitch himself actually wanted me to ask, some of the major influences of the most influential artists, specifically to the ECHT project.
You named few of the John Wayne. Yeah, it's really one of the guy that still now when we listen we're like, what the hell? I mean, we're like, wow, amazed by his work. In fact, Aphex Twin, of course. I don't know if you're a bit familiar with that, because it's mind blowing. I mean, he's so eclectic. He goes to every style for concerning electronic music, and it's like, wow, you can take lessons from every stuff. And from some reasons that we discovered during the making of this album, Ski Mask, Skeemask, is a producer from Germany, and it's amazing. We were listening a lot to his album. I mean, not his recent works, was like 4 or 5 years ago, I think. It's called Pool, the album. You can find it everywhere. I mean, it's impressive, like the sound design and everything, the tunes, and how he blends harmony with electronic, with a rhythmical element. In this electronic music, it's just mind-blowing. Drum, DJ Rum, R-U-M, from UK, also is like, there is one mix on YouTube, you can go and see it. He's mixing in the London Tower, in the bridge, or London Bridge. No, London Bridge, I guess, yeah. He's mixing there. You can see the cars passing down, there is a glass that is see-through that you can see. Amazing stuff, like. So yeah, basically UK-based music trap, what it was going there, and of course Europe, States. I told you Flying Lotus and all these collaborations and everything, and we are huge fan.
Yeah, all those artists are fantastic. Although I'm not as familiar with Ski Mask, but I'm going to look into that. And one of the reasons I love doing this show is to learn about stuff that I don't know about, that I can then touch back on. After the fact, and so that's appreciated anytime you share something with us that I'm not familiar with.
Thank you.
Yeah, with regard to John Wayne, I'm not a producer, I can play a little piano, but I love his videos. I watch John Wayne's YouTube channel a lot. It's really incredible, like the way he breaks down his productions and equipment and using software versus hardware, and he's such a genius that he's not as popular in the US, but people that know are very dedicated John Wayne fans. So shout out John Wayne. And if you happen to be listening to this dude, thank you for everything, because I've learned so much from the John Wayne YouTube channel.
Yeah, you for everything. Big love from Brussels, from the four of us. I mean, like, seriously.
One thing I did want to check in on, because you did post about it, the ECHT band page, and that was, there was an accident, and Martin was injured in an accident. Was that something that put a pause on the band? Was that something serious? Because there wasn't many details in there, but fans that saw that were concerned. We just want to check in and make sure he's doing great now.
I can show you over here the size of if I arrived to do it. So yeah, it was something really big. I mean, you can see here. I mean, we're still rehearsing and searching some stuff. So sometimes it happens that he has things. Sometimes he take it out. But of course, breaking it was his right arm, I don't recall. Dorian, was his right or his left arm? Martin, it was left. And breaking the left arm, which is very important for drumming. I mean, I do drum also a little bit by myself, but yeah, at that level, to have a pause for like 2 months, and so yeah, the fracture was pretty big. It was almost 1 year ago, actually, and luckily it happened in a period where we were actually taking our time off to write the music for the album. So it was in a way okay. We didn't lose any concert or any special thing that we planned to do in that period. And look at us now. I mean, we are delivering the stuff that we meant to do. We are doing our show in publishing the album the 7th. So at the end we made it, but of course there was some stress in the beginning to know what is gonna happen. Also for him, if he was gonna be able to be back, he's gonna be able to be back to play drums as he used to do before. And actually, then I remember the first time he tried. Before we had one show in June that it was our comeback, let's say, here in Brussels, and. So when he started to play again 2 months prior, we were like, oh, wow, okay. Actually, everything is there. So we were like, okay, it's gonna be okay. Then we were, in a way, tranquilized, you know. We were like, okay, everything's gonna be okay at the end. But we were scared. In the beginning, we were scared.
Well, I'm happy to hear that he's back and playing well. And I can imagine a fractured arm for a drummer. It threatens the whole career. So, you know, it's not, you make your living and your passion with your body, with your hands, with your arms, whether you're playing drums, bass, keyboards, you know, that kind of injury can be debilitating. So I'm grateful that he's okay.
Yeah. I also had a small injury.
You did?
Yeah. It happened also to me like ago. I had a small injury. I'm not showing you the finger. I cut my last, you know, I don't know how it's called this in English, but just the last digit is called like this. The last part of the finger, I cut it while cooking, actually. So they restitched it together. I mean, it was just not so grave. Also, it was not so severe as a cut, but it was something. So I also played for 2 months like this, and everyone was like, because we used to put some tape on it, you know, some how do you say, fluorescent tape, and everyone was like, yeah, what is this new thing of, like, you know, not giving a fuck while you're playing? I'm like, no, it's not that. It's just I asked you to do it. Just a little joke we did between us, but voila. That happened also. I mean, accidents, that happens, but the important is that at the end we find ourselves. You know, Martin found his way, and to change a few things, but everything is totally fine now, and we can play for hours.
Well, that's good news, and I'm sorry to hear about your finger. I imagine that was probably a little bloody, that kind of accident, lots of blood. Yeah. But hey, that's a funny story with the middle finger and the tape. Makes for a laugh. You know, you can laugh about it now that it's over. Speaking of concerts, I'll tell you, it's a dream for a lot of us here to experience ECHT live in concert. You know, I have a friend named Greg who actually flew over to a festival that you played in 2023, I believe it was. And I'm so jealous of him. But he's a well-traveled guy, and he goes to lots of international music festivals. And I've talked to festival promoters and talent buyers here in the U.S. to just say, what is it going to take to get ECHT to the U.S.? Is there any conversations? Have you ever considered traveling and performing in North America?
Sure, we fantasize on that really a lot, to be honest. Like we really like it would be a dream that will become true if it happens, you know, like especially for me, I have some friends in the jazz scene, you know, like in LA or New York, and they always explain me how it is also performing in the States, you know, and for us, for me, I can talk personally, it would be really a dream, and we do really fantasize on that a lot. It's just it's difficult to, you know, it requires really a lot of, economically it's really difficult to come over there, also because we have to bring a lot of stuff. It's not like, with all the respect due to the other bands, but with ECHT we have to bring not everything, but most of the stuff, you know, and especially drums, and we really use specific stuff between the pedals, the synthesizers with Orhan, and we had already some troubles with the backlines, but we could find the solutions at the end. We are really specific. I mean, we did perform in Mexico or in India, or we went to Turkey. I mean, we did some shows where we had to take the flights, and it was okay. But already there, we didn't have to pay, you know, for the visas and stuff like this, or like reduced, and it was pretty expensive to do it. You know, it's just that if we were about that, I would come today, you know. We will do it. We will come. The first possibility will be there.
Yes, I understand the economics. It's hard when you're in the United States. I mean, a lot of bands that we love are having a hard time economically staying on tour, and they live here, you know? So I can imagine between the equipment, the visas, the travel, and I've had conversations with industry folks of the reality, what it would take. Like, because I firmly believe a lot of the festivals, sort of the West Coast festivals out here in California that do both instrumental bands and DJs, you would be very popular. And same thing for like the festivals in New Orleans, Jazz Fest, you know, that has a very international flavor and a lot of, lately, electronic influence. So I know if we could just get you here, it would be a win. People would respond, but it's a lot to do it. And, you know, it's just my dream.
Wow.
It's something I literally think about often. And I'm not in the band. It's just something I would go on the tour. I'd already told my wife, if ECHT comes to US, I'm going on the tour. Whether I'll work for you guys for free, I'll be a translator, I'll get you weed, whatever you need. Like, I'm going every night. And so just know that when it happens, God willing, and look, let's be honest, our country's a mess right now. There's a lot of reasons not to want to come to the US. I'm ashamed of a lot of what's happening here. I'm going to keep it honest, but music culture here, it's special. You know, it's not affected by the bullshit and the politics. It's just art for art's sake, and community and dancing. ECHT could really serve as a beautiful thing here in the States, and also as an example of like people from other countries doing it better than we're doing it, because no one's doing it as good as y'all over here. That's my honest opinion. And I wanted to just let y'all know that we really want to have you here.
Appreciate it, man.
We do. But I understand it's expensive and it's a lot, and I'll just keep praying, and hopefully.
Yeah, but I'm positive that will happen one day. I mean, we already had people like you in other places here in Europe that they were really like, okay, I'm gonna try to get you here, you know, to perform here, to be here. So I'm pretty sure that what you do is really giving us, you know, the power that happen one day, and it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be great when it's gonna happen. It's gonna be like, wow, okay, from both sides, you know, like I told you in the beginning, like 5 minutes ago, like it's really do fantasize on that a lot, and we would love to. We also love to tour, you know, because I mean we're musicians. We are meant to do that. So when it happens here in Europe, we will always pass a good time together. We are friends, and everything goes super well. It's nice to discover new place. But in the US, man, it's gonna be like, wow, okay, you tour in the US. At least for me, is like a privilege, you know, like okay, you tour in the US, and then it's cool, you know, like. Also, the people you know and everything is just great. It's cool. I cross the fingers. I keep praying on it. Let's say if it happens, I'm gonna be super happy.
Well, that makes two of us, man. And I'll just have you know, I was on the Jam cruise last week. I hadn't been in many years, but it's a a 5-day boat ride, music 24 hours a day, lots of random collaborations, improvisation. And I brought a couple hundred X stickers. They see it on my coffee cup here. But I made these a couple years ago, and I've been handing them out for a couple years. And I gave out, probably 100 on the boat last week. And I
Wow.
can't tell you how many times I give away a sticker. I say, hey, this is my favorite band. They're from Brussels. Check them out. Just make sure you use the exclamation point. You have to use the exclamation point. And then whether it's 2 months or 2 years later, that same person will come up and thank me.
Wow.
Say, thank you for the X sticker. I love that band. Or when is ECHT coming to the US? And to which I don't have an answer, but it's nice to hear it resonate. And I feel like an evangelist, like somebody whose job it is to spread ECHT to the US. And so I take that kind of seriously, dude. Because this is important music, I believe. It's something sacred and at the same time like almost like revolutionary in a way. And therefore, I want to be, part of spreading the gospel.
Wow.
And, I know that sounds like a lot, but I mean it. I haven't talked to you ever before. It's been 3.5 years, so I might as well tell you everything. We really believe in you musically, and we want to support whatever you're doing overseas, getting you to the States, getting your new album into the right ears so that those people can get turned on. I have 2 more questions. Is that okay? You have time for 2 more?
Sure, man.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
One question I get asked a lot about, because people ask me questions about you because, I'm the ECHT guy. The name, right? So I understand it means the real thing in like a local slang. How did you tell me about the dialect? Brusselier? Is that how I say it? Brusselier? The language?
Brusselier.
Brusselier. Okay.
Brusselier. And it's a dialect. Yeah, it's a dialect here because you have to know that Belgium is divided in 2. I mean, like cultural and linguistically talking. Also, it's made of 2 regions. You have Wallonia in the south where they speak French, and in the north they speak Flemish, and Brussels in the center. So actually, it's called the region of Brussels. Capital Brussels, voilà, that's how it's called. And in Brussels, everything is also divided in 2. And this dialect is basically a little mashup, if I may say, of the 2 languages together. And so you have a lot of words in Dutch, but you have also a lot of words in French, or like Dutch words, but they're pronounced more in a French way, let's say. Really, like I'm not a linguistic, so I'm trying to really summarize this in 2 sentences, okay? But ECHT, that's something that it's really common in Germanic languages, Also in German or in Dutch, again, it's something to really use it not only to say, that's the real thing. It's also like an exclamation or like, how could say, a surprise, like ECHT. I hear it a lot in the street, like, it's literally translated really, okay? But it's used in that way. But it's also used as a statement, like ECHT, like, yeah, for real, this happens. But we basically took it from a beer that we liked it, and it was proposed from a singer that we know and we love. It's a friend of ours. It's called Julie Rens, and she was saying, look, this beer has a great name. It was called ECHT. And she said, yeah, consider using it for a band, otherwise I'm gonna use it. That was the sentence. And we're like, yeah, sure, it's small, it has its impact. And of course, we heard it so many times around Europe, ECHT, in so many sources, we're like, okay. But it's true that it stays, and it's really like just 4 letters, with this exclamation mark. It's pretty visual. Voila, it's easy to do a visual on it. It's easy to do stickers on it also. I mean, it's just 4 words. It's not like those long names, which I also appreciate. But even lettuce, like look, lettuce, it's just there. Like you can sell it.
Yes, it's very impactful, and I love the name. But I really didn't know what else to say besides, yeah, it means the real thing in slang over there. But now that you broke it down, and I mean,
Yeah.
you might not be a linguist, but that was a very thorough explanation of the name
Ah,
and why it's important and why it's impactful. And I love it.
yeah.
I think it looks cool, and it has like a sort of swagger to it. It's like, yeah, this is the real shit. This is the dopeness. It's all in that one word. And also, yeah, like, oh, oh, word, really? Like this is it. And so
Yeah,
there's a
exactly.
lot
Yeah.
packed into just four letters and an exclamation point without having to explain it all. And I think that and then it has a cool story. Like on a beer, someone else said, if you don't do it, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. And here we are,
Yeah.
8 years later. So, it worked. The last one relative to the
Yeah.
band, do you have like preferences with regard to material that you perform? Obviously, everyone wants to play their new stuff first, because they're excited about it.
Mm.
But, a lot of us fell in love with Inwayne. I love every song on Inwayne. I know every little drum fill, every ghost note, like I have. So how do you navigate that where you're excited to play Boilerism, right? But a lot of people are seeing you for the
Yes.
first time. They want to hear In Wayne sink along, the goose that got away. So how do you decide on the material to present live?
They just he has to go.
Sorry, I really have to go. Man, thanks for the love. I'm really sorry. Yeah.
He's a family man. He's a family
I
man.
respect
I
that.
hope we'll meet. We'll meet.
Someday, I'm certain.
We will. So yeah, of course. I mean, already thank you for the appreciation and the love that you give to us and for this music, and it's really. I mean, it touches me, but I can talk for the behalf of the others. It's really something like, with people like you that telling us this kind of stuff, but gives us a lot of energy to also go on. Because sometimes we might find some difficult times. Like, oh, is it okay what we are doing? Maybe we should go back to what we were doing in the first album, or maybe we should do something else, or maybe it's normal. It's some questions that we get a lot of times because we want to do our best, not in order only to succeed, but to feel good, like to in order to express our love for this music. But yeah, to answer to your question, of course, what we're working on a new show because we also want to go more in that direction, of the Boilerism, that we were already having it as an energy in the live. If you want, the live until now was like, okay, you have the first part where we play more in Wayne, then we do a transition to sing along or like a mashup, and then at the end we were finishing with some clubby tunes that usually you hear in clubs, from Object or from DJ Craze. He's a great guy also. There is a nice live we did during COVID from 2020. Like all these kind of influences that we're more finishing in the up-tempo, clubby vibe, very pure in a way, like very, minimalistic, and less jazzy, less where you could, as you said, you could hear less drums fills or the bass goes notes or whatever, this kind of stuff. But of course, we really do love, performing those tunes. But for now, what we are working on is more, the Boilerism. And but we always kept it open. I mean, we said that maybe in a new territory, if we're gonna perform, we're gonna, like let's say if we get a US tour or US Canada, whatever, we will play things that you're not used to listen from us, because here a lot of people, especially in Brussels, let's say we are obliged in brackets to do new things to show also, as you were saying, like, yeah, you have a lot of people that are waiting, results from you. I think you said it in the beginning. That's true. I mean, there are the fans, there are also the professionals that they want to see the evolution of the band, which is totally normal. We are in a society which is very consumistic. Like you have to consume everything very fast. So yeah, for Europe, for the places where we have been, we are gonna do a new show. But we were always keeping it open to have kind of different live sets. And I remember we were fantasizing on it and saying, yeah, if we play in a jazz festival, we can play more, Charlier tracks from Wayne, or other tracks where, tunes where you have more this piano stuff, and, to have more that color, that embodies the two identities together. And if you play more in a festival and you start to play at 1 a.m., but there you have to go a little bit more party, and then you have to, let's say that would be the ideal set. But sometimes we have difficulties because we have, with all the machines and the stuff, all the sounds of the keyboard, you have to put it one after the other, and it's improvising on it is gonna sound. It's not really what we search, So everything is there, like consequentially, 1, 2, 3, 4 for each of us about the sounds and everything. But I think maybe one day that will happen, Like let's say if we come again to the US, I think we will play more in Wayne, and we will do a set which is longer, like do other stuff. Who knows?
That was a great answer. That was a really great answer,
Thank you.
Federico. I appreciate that. And I would agree. It's really interesting the way you phrased it, because it's like
Thanks.
a DJ, right? So if a DJ is playing a set at sunset, they're going to bring a different vibe, like the records, or
Yeah.
nowadays you don't bring records, but you get what I'm saying. The songs that you select from, the DJ set at 1 or 2 in the morning, same DJ is playing a different set at 1 in the morning than they're playing at 7 p.m. or 19 p.m. And as a band like ECHT, it's remarkable that you're approaching it like the modus operandi, the planning, the programming of your set is parallel to that of a DJ, of a selector playing to a nightclub crowd, playing to a daytime festival, and you have the records for it. I mean, I was thinking, I wanted to tell you with regard to Inwayne, one of my great joys with Inwayne is to snowboard.
Wow.
You ever snowboard?
No, I never did it, unfortunately.
Just flying down the mountain in the snow, and I've got Inwayne in my ears, loud, and I'm just wide open nature, powder snow, just cruising through. And Inwayne is so emotional and so beautiful and so euphoric. It pairs really well with snowboarding. It's one of my favorite records to listen to while I'm snowboarding. Sing along I like to listen to when I walk around the city at night.
Wow, okay.
Headphones on, hoodie up, sing along in my ears, just walking, the lights, the cars, the energy. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's like a set and setting.
Yeah.
So I'll have to see where Boilerism fits into my life like that.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see what activity it's going to soundtrack.
Yeah. Did you already listen to it?
Only what you've released, the 2 song Hide and Wacky or was it what's the other one? You had the Hide, and then one called something with Wacky in the title.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard so far, and I love it. I really love the Hide video.
Yeah, Wacky Wave.
Wacky Wave, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you via email. Yeah, I'm gonna send you via email the drive or the how it's called SoundCloud. Yeah, the SoundCloud where we have the tracks.
Thank you.
So you can listen to it. I mean, that's the minimum I can do for you.
Hey, I'm grateful, and that gives me an opportunity to write an article about it so it can come out when the album comes out. Because oftentimes I got to wait till the album comes out, and then I write it, and then it comes out a few weeks after. But if you give me a preview, which I wasn't going to ask for, but I'm grateful for, I would love that. I'll definitely put some words together to let people know about the new release, and I really appreciate that. One last question relative to you, Federico, is when I went to check you out on Instagram, I noticed, obviously, ECHT is not your only thing. You got a lot of things going on, a lot of groups, a lot of projects. Can you just tell us a little bit about some other interesting things that you're doing musically that we don't know about, maybe not related to ECHT?
Yeah, I mean, there is things related. I mean, because as we were talking before, there is this musical scene going on here in Brussels, so there are a lot of bands right now doing what we do, you know, and with different genres, of course, but the mentality is the same. I can name you a few. Me personally, I play in another band, which right now I'm the release time, because we just released it last Friday. We released the...
I saw that,
album. Yeah, it's called Bandlerching. And that's trio. So bass, me, drums, Olivier, and Ambrose on the sax. But we also try to play some electronic music and stuff. But since we are three and nobody is like harmonic instrument, though now with the bass you can do whatever. But yeah, with the pedals and some help of electronics also, you know, like Ableton and stuff like this, we, in a way, enlarge what we can do with one instrument, you know. So live also is pretty challenging because we have to do, you know, a lot of work. But it's also very, you know, satisfying to play this kind of music. It's slightly different than ECHT because it's not so, how do you say, ECHT has something more with the acoustic drums, and it's really based on that sound, you know, that the acoustic drums brings, and then we blend. I blend on it, you know, like a kind of 808, 909, but in real life, let's say, in brackets always, you know. And but with Bander, we use more, electronics things, you know, like pads and this kind of stuff on the drums. And then, I'm still active in the jazz scene. I play with some jazz cats or dudes, I don't know how to say. I had the chance, and I still have the chance to play with one of the last guys of Belgium that actually also contributed to this Belgian sound in the 70s and the 60s. He's called Philippe Catherine. He's a guitar player. And that happens that, you know, before a concert of ECHT or during a tour of ECHT, then I go and do a jazz concert, you know, with this guitar player. Sometimes it happened we played in trio with the drums. So the night before we were like slamming, you know, sub-heavy bass. And then the day after I had to take solos and everything and to be light, you know. So I still love to do that because it makes me really confrontate with the challenges, you know, to be good in different genres, you know, because for me a musician doesn't have to be only one thing, but has to be, you know, open-minded. Again, you know, we come back to the open mind, which I learned here in Brussels, you know, like where I come from Italy. Of course, there is an open-minded, you know, settlement, let's say, or something like this. That of course you can play whatever genre, but it's kind of approximatively. approximate. Here it's more like, okay, you're gonna play jazz, but you gotta do it good, you know. You gotta know what you're gonna do. And yeah, so I play with him. I played also on the jazz side with another great American guitar player. That happened 3 years ago, but I still bring it in my heart. I had a 2 weeks tour with Kurt Rosenwinkel. You might know, he's a great American guitar player. Yeah, he's like,
Of course, he's major.
3 years ago. That was 2022, beginning of 2022. Yeah, and via a guy that I play sometimes is a piano player from Italy, but he lives here. It's called Nicola Andrioli, and he is also very great. I mean, he became really a good friend of Kurt, and they're performing a lot together. So, I mean, that I always bring in my heart, because for me it was really like a major, as you say, like an idol I could touch, you know, for real. Like, okay, it's a guy that I transcribed or I listened to it a lot, and then he was just next to me, and I was like playing with him, you know, like the sound would how do you say, converge and would blend, you know. And for me I was ecstatic. Like for all the 2 weeks I couldn't sleep, man. I was like on the sky. I mean, obviously you're going to play with other musicians, and of course you're going to have other influences, other stuff, and you're going to bring it to the main project. That for me is vital, you know. It's like saying, yeah, I have only one friend. I'm going to always see only one friend. I mean, it's stupid in a way, you know. We are humans. We are made to make interactions and connections, and to evolve in this way.
That's very well said. And I love how you say you can be inspired by playing with an icon like Kurt Rosenwinkel, and then take that energy back to another project, and a new vocabulary, a new chord, a new scale,
yeah,
a new effect that you only know because you played in another arrangement, another combo, and then now you have that to bring to your others. I smoke a lot of herbs, so my memory's bad, but it's J.D. Beck and Domi.
Yeah.
That was the duo. You know, the young kids, J.D. Beck and Domi. It was them two and Kurt Rosenwinkel. Absolutely stunning. So, yeah, lucky you. You got to play with Kurt.
We saw them also in Amsterdam. We were playing in Paradiso, is this venue, and is a great venue. I mean, also D'Angelo played there a lot of times. There are videos on YouTube and everything. I mean, it's a great venue. And we saw Domi and JD Beck. I think it was also 2022, also 2022, when they were just putting out their album and they were touring Europe. We saw them a couple of times, actually. We were in the same festivals, and yeah, it was mind-blowing. And for me, it's like, wow, okay, incredible. I'm a huge fan also.
Yeah, I think we probably saw them at the same time, around the same, with the album release. Yeah, Kurt Rosenwinkel's on that record. And just to tie it all together, they blew up here. They became very popular, right? Even though they do pretty, I wouldn't say weird music, but it's not pop music. It's not easily consumed, right? But they blew up. They have a huge audience. Those are the same audience that will love ECHT when they can hear ECHT live. The same people that blew up Domi and JD Beck, that's the same crowd, same community that will embrace ECHT.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time, man. I think, we're going to make it happen. You know, I really believe it. And having this conversation and me putting this out, I mean, a few thousand people might hear it. It's not going to take over the country, but I think it will put it in the bug in people's ear.
Yeah, that's what we love.
This has to happen. And a couple festivals, might, with enough zeros on the check,
Yeah,
get a couple festivals, then get you on tour with Lettuce.
why not?
I know those guys. They've already told me they would take you out in a heartbeat
Wow.
if you could come over here. You could be direct support for them in a heartbeat. And
Yeah,
they had a great time with you guys when they were in Brussels.
yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I was not there, but
And they talk about that often. So
Dorian was there. Yeah,
yeah, I know they hung out with a couple of you guys. Yeah. And they told me about it. They said, "Hey, you were right." Yeah, I was saying I know they enjoyed spending time in Brussels with the members of the band.
Yeah.
And I know they love ECHT and they listen to it on the bus.
Thanks so.
And they would certainly have you as direct support if we could get you over here. So I'm going to just do, they say you manifest, you speak it into existence, manifest. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm saying my wishes to the world, and hopefully one day we'll have a pint. Might not be ECHT beer, but we'll have a pint and we can laugh about how we made it happen.
Nice.
But,
nice.
in the meantime, I just want to wish you the best with the new album.
Thanks so much.
And the best with programming the new show. And I want to say thank you. Honestly, how do I pronounce your last name when I introduce you? Federico, your last name.
Pecoraro.
Pecoraro. Okay, I got it. Pecoraro. Cool. I just want to make sure I get it right when I introduce you, because it would be embarrassing if I said it wrong.
No. Okay.
It's been an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to speak with you.
All mine, man.
Please give my regards to the rest of your bandmates.
Sure.
And also just know, we're ready whenever you guys get here. No pressure, no rush. But I'm going to continue building the ECHT community here in the U.S. I'm just grateful for the art. We need art now, like more than ever.
Indeed.
And y'all are doing it big, and we're grateful. So.
True. Those are the real words.
I'm also going to send you my D'Angelo collection, like all my concerts and soundboards.
Oh, wow. Okay, man. Please do. We are all here in Brussels, but all my friends around, we're all a huge fan of D'Angelo. And we do play. Sometimes it happens that we have a side band of the same guys of ECHT, that we do some shows, a little bit like this to have fun, like after a tour or whatever, where we play a lot of the meters stuff.
Oh yeah, we love the meters.
And we do play a lot of D'Angelo. Yeah, we do. That's also what we used to play in the beginning of the band. It's like that. You cannot not love that music, even if you play electronic music based on bass music from UK. But for me, that's so essential that you cannot pass next to it. You have to go through it. It's impossible, It's impossible to say, no, D'Angelo. It's mind-blowing. For me, I had it's like
totally.
I have periods, and I had a period like 2 months ago, 1 month ago, when I rediscovered some lives, as you have, and I completely jumped in it, and I listened to it while sleeping, I put the headphones on it, and I was like, I've gotta simulate those kind of stuff without thinking on it, just to have it, it's mind-blowing for me.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised to hear that that's something that you love, that I love, because we're coming from the same place with that. And it's the best concert I ever saw was on the Voodoo tour back in 2000 when I was 22 years old.
Wow.
Just very young. I didn't know a whole lot. I ended up at a show with the Soulquarians band and changed my life. It was literally a religious experience, and that's why I'm talking to you about D'Angelo right now. Was that night changed my life. So much love, and it's a good place to hop off the D'Angelo tip. And man, hopefully next time we talk, it'll be in person. But again, very grateful for your time, Federico.
Thank you so much for having me talk about our stuff.
It was a pleasure.
Just big love. Thank you so much for everything else. All the words, the comments, all the encouraging, super cool. Thank you so much.
Blessings. Thank you. Yes, indeedy. I want to thank my man, Federico from ECHT, for dropping in all the way from Brussels, Belgium. That was such an insightful and an illuminating conversation. And I'm so proud to be a soldier, a general in the ECHT army here in the Babylonian United States of America. But that said, like we always do about this time, the Vibe Junkie Jamz, I'm going to give you a little tour through the annals of ECHT. And I usually play a song or three at the end of the episode, so that's what I'm going to do. We're going to start it off from the Brew Mix series several years ago. The Chris Dave, Daniel Crawford Taking Orders into Ashley Morgan Double Size, and then De La Soul The Business. This is one of the first things that hit me when I listened to them. Blew my mind. And then we'll get into the album that really changed my life, and that's In Wayne. And I'm going to play Charlier from In Wayne, which is like 2021. And then the new album, which is called Boilerism. And we'll play the single that just dropped a couple days ago, Boiler Beak. And that way you can kind of, we're skipping over the Sink Along album, but I don't want to play too many songs at the end. So I encourage you to check out the whole catalog. Doof, I guess is how you pronounce the EP that started it all. In Wayne, first full-length LP. And then Sink Along, which was 2023, and now dropping like it's hot, Boilerism. So shout out to Federico and Seb and the whole ECHT band and everybody out there in Brussels that's, doing the damn thing, because we appreciate ECHT all the way here in the USA, and I really look forward to a time when they come to these parts, because they will blow the roof off the motherfucker. So with that, we'll get into this ECHT session after that sweet Federico chat, and I'll say goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Yes, indeedy.